All right, we're going to go ahead and get started while he finishes setting up, but we do have this little intro video for us, so hopefully I'll give him a little bit more time. So enjoy.
Hey. Yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here? why are we here? Are we the product of some cosmic coincidence, or is there really a God watching everything? You know, with a plan for us and stuff. I don't know, man. But it keeps me up at night.
All right, everyone. What do you think of the little intro that we had put together for us? Yeah? All right, well, welcome to the Their Worlds, Our Stories, a Halo Machinima discussion. I am Duststorm. I am the owner and host of a podcast called Podtacular. We are a weekly Halo podcast that covers anything and everything about the Halo universe, and I am honored and privileged to have with me a bunch of Machinimators up here, and we'll go ahead and start down the row here. Alistair's setting up a live stream, trying to get that going, so...
I'll go last.
Okay, we'll come back to him. To my right, go ahead and introduce yourself. Wow.
Hi, I'm Alex, otherwise known as Angel on My Shoulder Productions. And,
I'm Marcelo, otherwise known as Flamethrower Productions.
I have my own mic.
You can take the mic out if you want.
There you go. My name's Matt, or Matteoarts. I'm the owner of Starfall and creator of, I guess, what you see listed before you. It's on there, right?
Hi, everybody. Sorry for the really chaotic intro. My name is Alistair. I'm known as A-Star Online. I run the Hub, which is a Discord community of Machinima creators. We've been around for almost 3 years now. All these wonderful people are a part of the server and have been involved in the community for a very long time, and I'm very happy to participate in this event with all of you today. As you can see, we're trying to get everything set up. I also do filmmaking, so we're doing our best to make this a pretty memorable event, but might be memorable in a weird way, but hopefully this will be good.
Alistair's also the one who just edited that anthology video that you guys saw, so big round of applause for him. He did an amazing job, stayed up for several nights editing that.
4 or 5 revisions and so many close deadlines.
Dude went the distance, man.
Oh, it's crazy. All right, so we're going to go over some of the basics and some of the Halo-specific stuff, and then we'll dive into what these guys have to show off today. So who here has delved into Halo Machinima before? Like, actually, just from a viewing perspective. All right, so good amount of people. Who here has actually attempted to make a Machinima? 3 people. All right, so we're in, hopefully you'll learn a couple things from these folks today. So Machinima is a combined term of machine and cinema, basically taking some kind of technology and using it to make cinema or film. And it can utilize computer graphics, typically video games in today's age, but has been done in other things, from graphic programs to 3D rendering software and all that kind of stuff. But basically, if you're using a computer to make a movie, basically from end to end, not necessarily VFX, then you're making Machinima. And a lot of it's inspired and used from gameplay recordings, so you're having a lot of other things happening within the video game or within whatever piece of technology you're using to make the piece of artwork. And Machinima really got its start and popularized by a Machinima called The Diary of a Camper in Doom in '96. So before I move on, I wanted to kind of give everyone here an opportunity. When did you guys get your first start into Machinima?
I guess I'm first. So I got my first start in Machinima in around 2013. I did voice acting for Nightmare Films, and then I got my own Elgato, and I guess the rest is history.
As for me, I would have to say around the same time, 2014. The idea of making action scenes and whatnot was just creative experience, and I've been doing it ever since with my own series.
I think I got into machinima making around 2010. I think is when my channel was first created, at least my second one, the one I use now, Starfall. And I didn't make anything worth really talking about until a few years down the line. It definitely has a super steep learning curve, but I think I first got into the community around 2013 with a site called Machinima Union, which was, I think I met Alex on there and people like Naga and Digital Virus, stuff like that. And from there, it just kind of blossomed forward.
Humble starts, though. I mean, everyone has that first attempt at anything, and it's one of those cringeworthy things to go look back at. But
of course.
Everyone has their start.
Really an experience.
And Alistar, how about you? When did you get started in the Machinima?
Honestly, I've been so infatuated with Machinima since I was probably like 9. I discovered Red vs. Blue, and I begged my mom to buy the DVDs. I Game Crazy, even though they were mature. And once I started watching them over and over again. But then later on, I discovered a whole bunch of other amazing Machinimas, some of the oldies that you guys saw in there, like Marlon the Elite. And after watching those, I decided I want to make my own Machinima. And a pipe dream like that for a kid isn't really very possible. But then I came back into the community around the end of 2016 when the hub was founded. And I'm not the one who founded it. But little did I know that I would be heavily involved with preserving what's left of this community and helping people connect with each other and find the resources they need to make the content that they wanted to make or were unable to prior. And it's been such a helpful endeavor to finally have all these people in one place and to make it easier than ever. And the fact that the developers, whether it was all the way from Bungie now 343, are working hard to keep us and what we do alive is amazing.
It really is. And it's one of those things that I know, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but it kind of got its apex in Halo 3 and Halo Reach, and it's kind of been a little iffy, I think, from there. It hasn't been as popular within the community overall.
Halo 4 made that very difficult, but hey, we're still here.
Reach was definitely peak Halo Machinima time.
Yeah. So Machinima is made with a lot of the similar aspects that you would see a normal cinema or a normal theatrical release made. So you have cinema basics, which is storyboarding, coming up with a plot, concept, scripts, and all that kind of stuff. You have capture devices that act as your camera. So whether it's a capture card for a console or just doing screen cap for PC capture or doing renders out of a 3D program or other graphics program, you're basically using some kind of virtual camera in that sense. Actors are the players within a video game or some other digital recreation of a character. From a video game aspect, you're using the limited control sets that you have available to you. You have voice actors who also play a role in Machinima. A lot of Machinima, you don't have the opportunity to really recreate facial expressions, so it's just a lot of voiceover work and not full body work like you would see in normal filmmaking. And then you use the same video and effects software that as you would normally do with a theatrical release film. So After Effects, Final Cut, a lot of those different kind of video software platforms. I don't go into this in any other slides, but what's the setup that you guys use to make your Machinima?
Go first.
Go for it.
There you go.
So I have a pretty basic setup. I go the Elgato route, like I mentioned earlier, and I I use Power Director. So none of the fancy stuff like you guys have. Still haven't learned that.
Sony Vegas isn't fancy, but
Fancy to me.
this is true.
That's what I first started on with Sony Vegas.
Yeah. So as for me, work with a baseline computer, Elgato, of course, because that's our best friend at that point, to be honest. And that's pretty much it. Using that.
Yeah, go ahead.
My setup for recording and capturing footage back when I was living in Texas was the most, I don't want to say ghetto. I had a big plastic tub on which my laptop sat, and my laptop was connected to the capture card, which was then connected to the connected to the Xbox. And so I had my computer, my poor little laptop, trying to overheat and run everything at the same time while I'm running HD Xbox One. And so I'm trying to record footage that way, and I'm basically just stacking things on bins Nowadays, I've got a desk, so that's the biggest addition to my setup. Jank. That's a good word.
There you go. iStar, how about you? What's your? I figure your probably is the most complicated or in-depth setup.
I mean, as complicated as I wanted just something as simple as streaming this to be, we're just doing the webcam right now. But like with Machinima, I haven't made a Machinima in a long time, which is strange considering that I run what's left of the Machinima community locally in the hub. But back when I was just 13 years old doing this, I had pretty much what everybody else did, just a Dazzle and used component with splitters, and it was awful, just potato quality. But since then, I mean, I even brought an Elgato, hopefully to relay the stream from a camera, but that didn't get to happen. But those work pretty well. In fact, the built-in DVR has been a helpful thing. I've learned a lot from Grumpy Elite. He's definitely pushed that feature to its limits. But in regards to like my setup, because I don't really make Machinima, I voice act and just help people connect. My setup just consists of whatever I can get my hands on and making the most of it. And that's usually the best you can do. I usually just get all my stuff used. That's one of the best ways to get into finding the equipment you need to make what you want, whether that be a camera, a capture card. Literally everything I've got has been used at like a super good price.
Agreed.
All right, so there's some key differences. We've kind of identified a couple of them, but Machinima is limited to the game that you're using. So the props and characters and scenes, you have a very limited foundation to work with. Makes things a little more interesting, and you have to get a lot more creative with developing sets and all that kind of stuff. Sets are created also in a digital space, which can help subsidize from a cost perspective. You're not actually having to go out and build sets. You're just making stuff within the video game and using that platform to create the stages that you want to use. For games like Halo, they allow capture of footage within the game engine itself, which I think everyone up here probably is very thankful for that. And video effects are typically easier, not always, as I was corrected back in the Houston panel, but video effects are typically easier to handle with game footage because there's not a lot, as much variety or variables to deal with, and there's a lot more clean-cut edges for green screen and other visual effects. Depending on the effects you're using, it can get a little more hairy, but typically it's a little bit easier to work with from the people that I've talked with. The foundations of Halo Machinima has most arguably been Warthog Jump, which I'm assuming everyone up here has seen at some point. Most of the first Machinimas that you guys saw from a Halo Machinima perspective.
First Machinima?
Yeah, what was your first Halo Machinima that you watched?
I think,
or got you interested in Machinima, I guess.
I think the first Halo Machinima I watched that legitimately got me interested in Halo Machinima was, I think it was Red versus Blue, but it wasn't the beginning seasons, it was the later seasons. And so that got me interested in the genre. And then Arby and the Chief and its humor was what got me hooked. And from there, you just kind of branched out to a lot of different other stuff. Master Chief War by Guitar Master X7 was still a classic.
Yeah.
If I had to say, I probably started with Rise of the Spartans, and I mean like middle of the series, like part 6. Like, found it on YouTube. It kept showing up on my recommended feed. And I was like, whatever, we'll watch it. I got hooked after that. Watched the entire series overnight, and my school wasn't fun after that.
That's one of the ones I still need to watch. I haven't watched that one yet.
The first Machinima I watched was So Where Are You From? And that was by Higher Octane Films. I don't know if he still does Machinima.
The Reach one? The Reach one?
Yeah, the Reach one. I was like, oh my god, a girl in a game. Girl gamer.
Those were the days.
It was such a sad ending.
I think my first Machinima was also Red versus Blue very early on. And actually, one of the things that kind of got me into Halo was seeing Red versus Blue in one of those Xbox kiosks. So they had like the little mini episodes that you would watch, like in the consoles in the Target or something like that. So that was like the first Machinima that I've watched. And I've dabbled in Machinima a little bit. I don't know if I necessarily necessarily say there's one in particular that got me at least kind of interested in Machinima, but that was definitely my first. What about you?
Like I said, for me, the first Machinima was just literally red versus blue, the like most vanilla kind of Machinima you can get into. But after that, like I said, Marlin Elite was a really big influence on me. After that, it was Sprigs and just anything that Machinima.com pumped out. But I mean, that's how a lot of us got into it. You find something you like, you look it up, you want to find more, especially if you start out with buying DVDs.
Yeah. So a lot of the popularizing Machinimas we kind of already mentioned: Red versus Blue, the Codex, High Impact Halo, Master Chief Sucks Like Halo, which turned into RB and the Chief. And Machinima really got, I guess, its kick during the Halo 3 time frame, where you can actually use in-game footage and have a theater mode that would allow you to go back and recapture footage. And we'll get into a little bit more why that's a huge deal here in a second. Before we do that, let's talk about the aches and pains of the very first Machinimas from Halo CE and Halo 2.
Ouch.
Everyone got their start maybe closer in Halo 3 time frame, except for, I think for you, Alistair, you started... Did you start before Halo 3, or did you...
I started trying to make Machinima in Halo 2, actually. And it was simple as pointing a camcorder at your television.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, but you guys got started in Halo 3 or later? Or
No, I actually got started in Halo 4. I was like, in the
well, Halo 3 or later, yeah.
Halo 3 era here.
Yeah. So, basically, Halo C and Halo 2 was very interesting to make Machinima because, like normal film, you have one take, and if you mess up the take, you have to go retake it again. So, if you had a capture card, you were actually among the upper echelon of Machinima creators. Because there was a lot of camcorder footage back in the day.
Yeah, gotta do it. Gotta make what you have.
Yeah. But there were a couple tricks in Halo CE. So looking down, and Red vs. Blue found this, I think, on accident. But if you look down, it makes it look like your Spartan is idle. So that was an interesting little, we'll call it the feature, within Halo Combat Evolved. And then black bars were used to hide most of the UI elements. So you got this super wide but very low res video for anything that was made in Halo Combat Evolved. And then in Halo 2, they actually introduced a button to lower weapons, which made that function a little bit easier. And they also had a glitch where you could have an overcharged plasma pistol and then pick up an oddball, and then you would basically have no weapons. Looks a little odd, but at the time that was a pretty big deal to have a weaponless Spartan to act with. So those were some of the early tricks, not a lot of stuff to deal with, but once we got with Halo 3, then we start going into some very interesting stuff. Introduced theater mode, where you can actually save clips, and one of the nice things about theater mode is you can get as many different angles as you want. So if you record something and you have an initial angle in mind, but then you see another angle where something happened that you weren't expecting, whether from visual effects, from explosions, or something like that, then you can either take that angle and use that instead, or you can say, oh, this happened and I didn't know this was going on while we were doing this. Let's recapture this, but let's take into effect these different items. So having that ability to actually go back and replay something that you did is a huge feature to have within Halo Machinima, and is used a lot, even in Machinima today. You also have breaking out of the camera from the player. So instead of having to have a Spartan view, you could break it out. You could have a flat cam, you could have a top-down cam, you could have nice little panning zoom effects. Also, the ability to remove HUD elements removes the whole black bar situation, which helps a lot as well. And because the Halo 2 single button to lower weapon kind of got abused in button glitches, they made a really complicated combo to lower weapons in Halo 3. So that's kind of the start of where a lot of Machinima started coming out. I know a lot of influence came from Red vs. Blue, and there were a lot of really good Machinimas coming out of High Impact Halo, the Codex, and a couple other Machinima groups, but Halo 3 is really when it started to kick off.
Halo 3 also introduced Forge for the first time, which allowed us
Yes.
to finally build sets for theater to fully utilize that.
I'm surprised no one else has actually brought up that topic, but I've missed that bullet.
What?
But that is a huge thing where you're not just stuck with the map that you have. You can actually build more sets that's more in line with whatever story you want to tell or whatever you want to do with your machinima.
Absolutely.
Bring a bit more creativity to it, right?
Certainly, yeah. For Halo Reach, we got a lot more armor variety, so a lot more character development, I think, happened with Machinima in the Reach timeframe compared to previous generations of Halo Machinima. And Forge expanded the capabilities even more to create those set pieces. Unfortunately, it suffered from a very gray colored grade in scale, so that's a thing for Reach. But
Big grungy matte. Yeah,
matte
palette.
gray. And then Halo 4, unfortunately, we had the elites removed from multiplayer, so a lot of people stuck with Reach Machinima for that reason, or started green screening in elites into Halo 4 Machinima. We also have Spartan customization to make it a little bit more variety to use, and then additional Forge capabilities like magnets and base prefabs, making building sets a lot more easier and more rapid to deploy.
Nice.
That was a little bit of a tongue twister.
Want to emphasize the fact that people stayed in Reach because we lost elites. Hint, hint, 343, please.
Have our ideas.
Yeah, we got slapped to that at the end.
What do we do without our Spartan versus Elite Machinimas? There are our crux, our bread and butter.
I know we like to bash on them all the time, but Machinima would not be as big if we didn't have like this massive flood of just these are Spartans on Halo Ring, please.
Yeah.
They're a part of the lore now.
Oh.
There's just it seems like there's a lot more ability to have some of that intricate dialogue and storytelling with that multi-race environment that elites bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean the flood don't really have the same effect.
No. They don't really talk much.
Oh.
Halo 5, the latest and greatest that we have in Machinima, has a lot of stuff that is really useful. Still a lot of stuff to be desired, but there's a Machinima mode in custom games now, so you can actually break out into a camera while you're in a custom game and basically have a director and a camera crew for the most part. So it's kind of bringing them closer to that actual cinema and theatrical film creating ability within Halo 5. Not flawless, but definitely a big feature for Halo 5.
I mean, looking at all the advancements that have been put in progressively and just to making what we do a lot easier, I'm really confident that it's just going to get better from here. I mean, by a show of hands, has anybody in the audience ever tried to make a Machinima?
We asked that a little bit earlier when you were setting up, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know. So I imagine like
A handful.
it could have been a much different situation if you're doing it recently or if you tried way back in the day and you had to work with so many more limitations. It's amazing what they're doing for us now.
It's really cool to see a lot of the features, not just within Machinima that they've added and they've really looked to the community to provide input on, but I think with Machinima, it's one of those, at least from my involvement with it, it's one of those lost art forms in a way. People are still making Machinima, but it's not as popular as it was within the greater Halo community during the Halo 3 and Halo Reach timeframes. So with Halo 5, there has been a lot more, I think, creator content, but I think the audiences are still kind of small, so hopefully with Halo Infinite bringing a lot more of that legacy feeling to the Halo franchise and a lot more, hopefully, additions and returns of things like playable elites and that kind of stuff, Machinima will kind of get a second wind within the Halo franchise. At least that's kind of my take on that. We also have Forge scripting, which adds some really cool effects from a filming perspective and effects just within the game. So you can script elevators, opening doors, lights, little audio snippets and that kind of stuff. So adding a whole another layer of Machinima just from recording within the game and setting up without having to do any post-processing or After Effects or having to do very little to that effect. Loss of split screen is kind of a minor thing. What?
Sorry, I was just emphasizing that's a big loss.
Definitely.
From the perspective of being able to have multiple people in a room recording stuff together, it's a huge loss. From like recording Machinima, like you only need the one screen, but definitely having people create content together within the room, and being able to just talk to one another and actually just do the acting scene there is a pretty big hit from what a lot of machinimators are used to from the Halo scene. Lots of timeline and issues with rewinding and fast forwarding. So since Halo 5 went to dedicated servers, there's a whole bunch of fun little quirks that you get to deal with as far as, say, films go. And that's just kind of one of those frustrating things where if you run into an issue, you have to restart the whole film again. Whereas in previous Halos, you just rewound and it worked. And there's a lot of other little nuances, but I think that's the big ones. Anything else that you guys can think of from?
Yeah, when it comes to Halo 5 Theater, we've got so many tools at our disposal as far as being able to enhance our machinimas to like the next level of recording. But there's so many quality of life bugs. It's like all a bunch of minor things that add up to major things. Like you were just saying about rewinding, because we don't have a timeline. If I try to rewind because I missed something or want to get it from a different angle, it'll either go back too far and I don't know it and I have to wait around for it to get to that part, and then I might miss it again because I'm fast forwarding or something. Or like you were saying with dedicated servers, each Spartan, when you try to rewind, is actually facing the same cardinal direction. They all reset their positions, and then when you fast forward, they try to go back to where the player was aiming, but because of the way that 343's animations with the Spartan work, their body might be contorted in a way that was not ideal when you were filming it. So like, for instance, if someone is staring at this way and they've just got a very slight turn, if you rewind and go back, I might be doing this with my Spartan when I come back to it.
How can your Spartan do yoga? Any other things from Halo 5 Machinima standpoint?
I haven't personally worked with it. I've only heard like a few horror stories about things that are kind of buggy with the game. I think some things are still kind of being worked on. 343 did a lot of work to kind of fix some stuff in Halo 5, but maybe they'll even patch some stuff in MCC.
I know from launch they've been working on stuff, especially with introducing the Machinima mode in custom games after launch, but unfortunately, I think we're at that stage in development for Halo 5 where they're not making a lot of changes, and hopefully with Infinite coming out, there's a lot of emphasis of trying to make sure that film feature is actually working how it has in previous Halo games.
I remember this one glitch that I know Lost Hobo Films encountered as well, including me, where there's all the characters appear to have recruit helmets for some reason.
Oh, yes.
So,
yeah. It's like a reset of some kind, also within like a dedicated server. I think that was one of the Houston folks was telling me about something that was similar to that. Either Recon or Athlon.
I'm curious, on Halo 5, is it still a thing that if the camera person or their character takes damage, it still kind of makes the screen bleed?
Yes.
Yeah, that is another nasty little artifact of films in Halo 5.
Why can't that just be
Only
like
if you're
an
locked
off
on that
switch?
character.
Just turn it off.
It's like they introduced some stuff and then they just like took stuff away, because like, yeah, from Halo 3 up through 4, you could break out and you wouldn't have the little
The red
visual
flashes.
effects. Yeah, the little damage icons and all that kind of stuff. But they did make a lot of changes to the underlying architecture, so there is that, but it does suck from a Machinima perspective.
Well, hopefully 343 is taking notes.
Well, this is the third time they've heard this, so yeah, well, hopefully
Like,
something
we get it already.
Hey, sir, why you gotta keep calling out like that, man?
So now is the time to talk about these folks and the stuff that they're making. So we'll go ahead and start with you, iStar. So tell us a little bit about what the hub is.
So without this coming off like a shameless plug, because it's not really for me, it's again a community thing. Like I said in the very beginning of this when I introduced myself, I run a Discord community called The Hub. You can join us anytime, and you can be a part of the community, whether you're just a person watching and joining in, or conversing with others, or whether you want to get directly involved as a body actor, voice actor, whatever you want. We tried our best to accommodate and help share resources and our experiences for everybody. And what all of these people have in common is that they're all a part of that community. They've all worked together. I know that at some point in time, whether it was on the website forum days, like with Machinima Evolved, Machinima Union, it was a lot more split up, and it was hard to kind of centralize everybody. And it's website server fees is so expensive. So doing this on Discord made this a lot more simple. And what we do is try to just help everybody do what they want to do, promote it, and keep this art form, this genre alive. It's a deep passion of mine, and something that has been a very difficult thing for previous moderators to take over. So I've been taking the brunt of it for the longest amount of time, and I honestly hope it doesn't end. If any of you are interested in joining, go ahead and consider. I'm not sure if we have a slide of it, but if you are familiar with Discord, just go to discord.io/machinima, and then you can join in there, tell us about yourself, and we'll do our best to go ahead and get you in there and see what you can do, or just have fun.
I'm surprised you just got the Machinima tag.
Oh, it's because we use a third-party vanity.
You had to use a bot.
Yeah, we aren't partnered yet. We were, but not anymore.
And
Well, I mean, for I know Discord.io is not the...
Yeah, it's a third-party one.
Gotcha.
Hopefully one day we'll reclaim discord.gg/thehub, or just Machinima. I know Machinima had theirs, but they kind of just
they went
cut the cord one night.
Yeah. So is there anything, if people are wanting to get interested or involved with Halo Machinima, that there's people looking for? So are people looking for body actors, voice actors?
Well, honestly, that's the best thing about the hub, is that you can find everybody you need. So whether or not you want to start making your own Machinima and you want to learn the ropes, you can find voice actors and body actors, even animators. We have a few composers in that server as well that are always looking for work, albeit it's usually up to the discretion of each person. But a lot of us there are so excited to help and work with everybody and help new people, because I've seen plenty of new faces come in there and give it a few months, maybe even a year, and they're one of the top people in there making something that almost, or pretty much does, define a new standard for making Machinima. There's so many people I've seen in there just rise really well. Even, an example, Ascend Hyperion. He wasn't in the server from the very beginning. He joined. He showed what he can do. He took criticism very well. He listened to everything we had to say, and now he's making amazing content. And it's so great that I had to make him staff. And he's been a very helpful part of the community, and a bunch of other people. I strongly recommend joining and seeing what other people have to offer. You'll definitely have fun.
He was actually the one that I think recommended reaching out to you about being on this panel, because I had reached out to him and a few other Machinimators at a time for a fundraiser that we did for Operation Supply Drop. And it was him, Nightmare Films, The Great Isaiah, and Thomas Productions, and all contributed to making some little videos for Machinima. So yeah, he's really a big proponent of the hub, and just another kind of almost put a testimonial section of what he's done.
It's pretty much like a secondary full-time job that I just only do because without it, there wouldn't be anything else, and it wouldn't be the same. We've seen so many other communities just kind of fall apart because of one reason or another, and this one has survived so well, almost entering our third year now, coming up in October. And the one thing I have to say is that you will definitely recognize a lot of people once you join in there. If you've been watching Machinima for any amount of time, we have a lot of OGs. We have a lot of new people who are definitely rising to the top. I wouldn't have even known about this whole event happening had it not been for my friend Pep, Jack Hahn. He's the one that made
Promised Land
in there. I voiced one of the guys in there, and we were shooting a movie over in Silver Lake a few weeks ago, or about a month ago. And we're driving up after filming this show. He's like, "Hey, there's a Machinima panel going on, right?" I'm like, "What? Who would do a panel for Machinima? Is this real?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude. They have me going on. You should definitely join. Talk to this guy named Duststorm." And I didn't even know that I already knew you ahead of time because I was in your Halo hub. And we just got introduced each other, talked, and now we're here making this happen. And I hope this isn't the last one. I'm hoping we get to come back and do more of these and see all the amazing changes and just continue to build this community.
I certainly agree. We were supposed to have another person with us to talk about the Golden Monitor Awards, Quad Pierce, but he's not here, so
I can fill in for that.
Yeah.
So I'm helping judge and moderate for the Golden Monitor Awards. In a nutshell, the Golden Monitor Awards is an award show for appreciation of people in the community making machinima recently who show that they can achieve outstanding definitions that change the genre in a bunch of different aspects, whether it's the way it's written, whether it's different ideas down to its own editing. We have so many different categories, and we have our first annual award show coming up pretty soon. We've had a few kinks right now. Unfortunately, Quad was unable to make it, which is why we're kind of facing some delays, and I'm hoping that everything goes well pretty soon. I think he ended up in the hospital a few times, so definitely send some love and appreciation towards Quad. He's a great guy, but he's worked really hard to put together an amazing, very difficult show that goes through a whole bunch of machinimas recently and figuring out what do we need to make sure people know deserves recognition so that way they continue to make more content and other people get inspired.
Is there anything that you guys do, and this is kind of jumping back to the hub perspective a little bit, but with Forge and custom games and a lot of other stuff, there's a lot of community reach out from the studio to go over, hey, what's something that we can do for improvement and that kind of stuff. Do you guys have a working relationship with 343 to kind of talk about, hey, these are some of the things that machinimators are doing and things that we would like to see, or hey, can we get some kind of recognition or a spotlight for some people? I know there's some that hit the Halo spotlight.
A few of our directors know 343 staff, and when they've talked with them, those particular staff members, they enjoy Machinima. They probably are a few of the people that are key players in making sure that we aren't forgotten. And they occasionally dip their nose in what's going on. They watch the content. They post it. They promote it on Twitter and on the official social platforms for Halo. However, I don't know if it's very likely that they'll be wanting to interact with us directly in our server. We're just a community of people, and hopefully that'll be the case one day, since they seem to work pretty well with developers and other independent people. However, in this situation right now, we're just hoping that they hear us and they know that we still exist and that we want to continue doing everything we can to make the game better, not only just for gaming and making machinima, but for the sake of preserving what has brought all of us together, whether that be watching a machinima or playing the game or any other means, because it's just a wonderful community of people. What I can say is if you're interested in reaching out or making sure that machinima creators in the community, whether it's the hub or the GMAs or any other place, support machinima creators, share their work, make sure people know that it exists. If you know anybody who's like, oh, I used to watch machinima back in the day, and they're thinking of machinima.com, they probably don't know that there's a lot of people still making stuff independently. It's not a company anymore. It's just people who want to make content, and you'd be pretty amazed that, wow, that was made in the game, like an engine. So I certainly suggest looking into that. You can find all of us on Twitter, especially Discord. You can also join the GMAs via discord.io/thegmas. You can definitely see a lot of what's going on in there. I think we closed the submissions for what people want to see, but definitely stay tuned for when we have our official live stream going through all the final results. I think you'll all very much enjoy it.
Thanks for sharing. All right, we're going to head over to my right, and we're going to talk about Angel on My Shoulder Productions. So, go ahead.
As it says on the that's how they did. So I initially started making machinima with my series Fallen Angel, kind of short-lived. And so then afterwards, I moved on to girl stuff, which I am trying to update a little bit more frequently. Unfortunately, around 2-3 years ago, I sort of fell off the map when it came to machinima, and unfortunately, that was due to technical issues where I actually had a computer that decided to kick the bucket 3 times, and the final time was just now, and unfortunately each time I lost a lot of data, so a lot of my original footage is gone to the wayside. So That's what I got so far.
Yeah. You have a little trailer for something that we're going to show off?
Yes, I do. Little trailer within the confines of 30 seconds to 1 minute.
All right. So enjoy.
Creator of Forever on Hiatus favorites like Fallen Angel, and the moral debauchery of girl stuff.
I was passively aggressively buttering my toast.
You know, on second thought, everything is okay and this is fine.
Ha!
Oh my god, shut up, Karen.
I have so much self-confidence now. Take that, society.
Maximum speed! Sonic speed, go!
With stellar reviews like, "You remind me of a discount Hermione Granger. This is like watching a different species. You're still making machinima?" Angel on My Shoulder Productions. Subverting high expectations since 2014.
Yeah, it's funny. Olivia, she voiced as Whisper in Rise of the Spartans. She, when I was making this, I asked her, "Hey, can you send me some roasts, please? Give me the most PG one." And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure thing." She had like 7 others that are way too inappropriate to mention in this panel. It's another funny thing. In the comment section, oftentimes I get people saying, "Hey, is this Whisper from Rise of the Spartans?" And I'm just like, no, it's not. And so I tell this to Olivia, and she's like, "What? I don't sound like a nerd like you." She's wonderful.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing.
Now, Flamesword Productions, it's been a journey doing this kind of stuff, but and just like that, I'm geeking out. Okay. Now, I've created many things over the years. It's mainly just been Halo stuff, but this channel's moved towards a bit more creative side. What I've created over the years is this we have on the next slide, or the poster.
The trailer? Oh, you want? There's a trailer. You want to do the trailer first?
Yeah, let's just try. So what we're about to show right now is a little bit of promo trailer, but while it isn't the first series that started, it's definitely been my passion series. And for those who are interested, or big anime nerds like I am, it has a bit of anime elements in it. Just I hope you guys enjoy the creativity I bring into it.
Hey Skylar, I hope things are going well on your end. The time has almost come for the rest of us to take our final stand. I'm supposed to face Umbrus in this battle, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrified more than ever. I can barely hang on as it is. Hell, I'm trembling right now. But this is something I need to do. Something I need to finish myself, and I swear I'll end it all. For us, our new family, our parents, and everyone else we've been fighting for. I'll stop dragging this on now. Let's do our best, okay? Love you, Skylar. Good luck and goodbye.
Thanks, sis. Please, stay safe.
You're not a soldier for the lies.
This is our destiny.
Your reasoning is just. Your heart burns with fury. I hear your strength and acknowledge it.
I'm getting close to Redwood, but I'm already hearing gunfire. Shit, I think Elias beat us there.
Jake, they're nowhere in the house. I've checked everywhere, but I can't find them. How can you be so calm at a time like this?
Because we will find them. I know we will. Knowing Claire, she probably took Skylar somewhere to hide.
Our girls are probably out there in that hell.
Mom and Dad are still down there. We can't leave without them. I don't want to leave without them. I want you to get far away from here. Hide in the forest until I can come find you.
You know it, and I know it. If either of us went into that hell alone, we'd die.
What the hell happened to you? Where are you?
You'll die for what you've done.
I carry
That's why we need elites in Machinima.
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh well, thank you very much, Alistair. I appreciate that.
It's essential.
But yeah, so this has been my passion series, and it's not a too well seen genre in the community too much, but interesting anime elements, the creativity and whatnot, because it's like, we do Halo versus not Halo, Spartans versus elites, but changing up and whatnot, and it's a challenge too, but it's a fun challenge nonetheless, and I enjoyed every minute of it making this.
I refuse to call it anything other than Machinima.
I will. Don't you dare.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Last one.
Oh, this is the part where I get to talk about myself.
Oh my god.
So, my name is Matt. A lot of people online know me as Matteoarts. I run and own a channel called Starfall. You might know me from productions. I think my top three biggest ones are Remnants, Shift, and Shift 2. Possibly not, though. In any case, I've been doing this for nearly 10 years now, and it's taken a long time to get where I am now. I think, like we were talking earlier, you don't normally just start off with a capture card. That was just my, thanks for the adjective, janky setup back in Texas, yeah. like a year and a half, 2 years ago. When I first started out, I had a big stack of books, and I had a video camcorder that recorded in like 360p, and I just pointed that at the TV screen, and you could see people's reflections and whatnot. And it was total garbage, but it was what got me started in order to get me here. Let me see. As far as talking about myself, I think that's as far as you need to know me. Maybe going on to the next slides, I've got a few different projects that I've created. So one of them being Shift, which was a story about a man and an eccentric AI with the ability to shift between realities. And she gifted it to him to help solve and stop this horrific event that happened many decades ago. And then I think I followed Shift up with Shift 2. I just released the full thing of Shift 2 last year in December, so nearly 2.5 to 3 years after the first one. And this one was a pain in the butt and ended up being the longest production I've made to date, clocking at about an hour and 7 minutes, I think. And there were so many production delays that I had to get through to get out of that one, but it's been a fun journey. After Shift 2, what do we have? I don't know what the poster is. Watchdog was it somewhat of a prequel to my upcoming one, Seraph. But Watchdog was a story about a big old mech that could only like bark and speak in dog sounds, trying to reconcile and form a bond with this scavenger in a semi-dystopian world. And you'll find that the Watchdog is something called a mimic, but I'll talk about that in a moment. This is a poster for something that's actually coming up called Metronome. There's no way I'm ever going to make a Shift 3. That is such a pain in the butt to go in. One of the characters in Shift is named Lucy. She's a floating forge monitor. She's never in any of the scenes that she's recorded in Halo 5. She's actually a Halo 4 forge monitor that I recorded on MCC on Forge Islands with the chroma key screen. Yeah. So every single shot in Shift and Shift 2 had to be basically shot with the idea that she was in there. And they're all talking to this character that you can't even see in the until I add her in post credits. But Metronome is somewhat of a spin-off / related kind of production to Shift, so that's going to be following up Shift 2, and it'll have nice cameos.
All right. Next is your trailer.
Next is my trailer?
Yeah.
All right, so before I guess the trailer comes up, my latest project, which is my most ambitious project yet, is a production called Seraph. Which is about a man named Ewan Theron, who's a guardian trying to keep a tentative peace between humans and mimics, which are a race of AIs that were created decades before. And now there's a hybrid, this new thing called a proper or prosthetic personality named Seraph, created by this Dr. Matheson, who combines both human and mimic biology, and her very existence is a threat to the peace built up over 10 years. So he's kind of being trained to hunt her down and take her out at any cost to keep the peace. So, sure, go on with the trailer.
The first wave of these new AIs, colloquially referred to as mimics, are finally being brought into the public light. Experts say that they will help propel humanity towards a Type 1 classification.
I had a thought. Maybe today I won't go in. Maybe today can be someone else's problem.
I want nothing more than for you to stay the hell away from me.
These dunes? They hide secrets.
The mind of a mimic, with the body of a human, is nothing short of precise anarchy.
What exactly are we dealing with?
I don't know.
Do we have a target?
I don't know.
Should you encounter this anomaly, you will promptly dispose of it with extreme prejudice. Is your directive clear, Guardian Theron?
Crystal.
By nature, humans are chaotic, mimics are systematic, but both are designed. Humans by nature and mimics by programming. This makes them predictable. The initiative represents a balance of these two ideologies. Perfect order.
I'm a guardian, Matheson. My job is to protect our very way of life, not just some girl.
You refuse to see that they are one and the same!
Thank you. And I gotta put that little plug right there for Alistair because I'm a sponsored project. Oh, there's that little poster.
Gotta support the homies.
For the boys.
Seraph is, I think the first act is actually done. I'm just having it scored by a composer. This is going to be the first thing that I have a 100% original soundtrack to. My composer, Brody Marshall, is doing a phenomenal job with that. I think I would have put in a link to the theme if we weren't running short on time. But first act should be coming out within hopefully the next 3 weeks or so. And then after that should be followed up with 3 more acts over the coming year, each of which is about half an hour to 40 minutes long. So this is 100% going to be my most ambitious project yet. Hoping it turns out well.
Very nice. So that's everyone's content. We do have one final slide. Our desired improvements from Machinima in the future. We've come up with kind of an overall general list up here, but I want to go down the table. What's the number one thing that you want to see from a Machinima making standpoint within Halo Infinite?
All of the quality of life improvements that we've lost. First and foremost, you didn't have to, I appreciate the new stuff. I just want the old stuff with the new stuff, please. But there have been some interesting stuff. Like one of the things that they added for Machinima mode is being able to control the camera, and you can move your character around at the same time. But if you try to move your character while you're free camming, it'll pop the FOV back out. So something nice would be a field of view slider, so that way you can actually lock in your camera. I know some people have suggested like rail systems for cameras and specific movements that you can repeat and then share amongst other games. Something like that would be super tight. Possibly different animations. People like Bacon Media and Ascend of Hyperion have really taken advantage of those intro cinematics that you see like before games in Halo 5, and they've made some really awesome stuff with those. So hopefully, maybe instead of just at the beginning, we could actually be able to trigger those cinematics in game. But that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah. Something I would like to see is forging cameras as well. So being able to place camera objects within a forge map that's specifically designed for like a Machinima mode, and then that camera is active and you can kind of cycle through them while you're in Machinima mode.
Ooh, like an actual set?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome idea.
That's something I would like to see. Because you have the camera setups for the intro stuff, so why not just make that a forge object and that only comes up whenever you're in Machinima mode?
Then we don't have to fly around everywhere. Yeah. That's a sick idea.
So that's my contribution to the conversation.
If I had to say, bring back the piece-by-piece armor customization that we got in like Reach and 4, I gotta say, I do miss that. Like 5 has nice armor. It's just not very well diverse as compared to the other games.
343
the identity to it.
And 343 taketh away.
Oh,
indeed, A-Star. Indeed.
Right. You have any? No. All right.
And
A-Star. I know you're a lot more like behind the scenes, but
honestly,
you probably heard the grumblings of a lot of machinimators.
Like it's basically that, and I just kind of observe from a bystander. Like I'll sit into some body acting sessions, or I'll honestly hop into a call with a lot of these guys here, and I'll watch what they're doing. They'll screen share, and I'll see the process, but also I'll see a lot of the gripes. And honestly, I'm curious. I'm not sure how much of a fix it would be, but I'd love to see if there was a way that 343 could implement some sort of a lens changing system, like a virtual lens for real depth of field. That way we're not having to, chroma key everything and do a bunch of green screen work. Although there are a lot of benefits to that. But I wonder how much of that extra work could be eliminated if they could actually add some camera elements into the game. I know that it's possible to some degree. We have FOV changes in other games, but we also have the ability to change the stuff in editing programs like After Effects. So maybe that might be possible. Hopefully, 343. Hope you're listening.
We've got stuff like that in photo editing modes, like in God of War and Spider-Man on PS4. I think something sick like that for video. Yeah, real time.
So that's all we have. If you guys have some questions, go ahead and come on up. We'll share a mic and speak into the microphone, and we'll go from there. We are kind of over time a little bit, so we're going to just take a few questions, but go ahead.
So first question, is the video that you showed at the start going to be posted on YouTube? Because I actually haven't seen a lot of those machinimas.
So
I think a copy was.
So there is a version currently on YouTube. However, we went through 3 iterations, mainly because we noticed some bugs, and then on top of that, we had some last-minute changes and decisions. So there is currently a version. However, I do plan on updating it with the version you saw today. The one that was originally made was meant to promote this panel, actually, both for this one and Houston. So you can find those on my channel currently, which is youtube.com/astar, AYSTAR. But I should be posting them out there if you want to go ahead and see them. We can honestly chat with any of you guys after this if you have any additional questions, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Probably be worth putting a link to it on the hub, like in some announcements or something like that too, with a link of all the machinimas covered.
Yes. That's actually a really good idea. There was one small thing. So some of these machinimas were archived, meaning because these things have been up. Some of them have been up forever and have gone through issues with copyright takedowns because of different stages of YouTube at the time, as well as creators who eventually feel I don't really want to feel associated with this anymore, even though all of us are it's awesome, it's our childhood. So we had to work really hard to archive a lot of this content and figure out who made it, so that way everybody's properly credited. But we'll do our best to go ahead and create something out there. That way anyone who wants to know more about these machinimas can find them. But usually that's what the little lower third is for, so that way you can figure out, okay, what's the channel name? Who's the guy that made this? Oh, it's named the machinima, and then that should work. But yeah, I'm happy to go ahead and help make any of these machinimas more accessible to any of you.
And we'll share it on the Podtacular social media as well. So if you follow us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, we'll make sure to reshare it out so you can find it. Thanks for the question.
All right. I still have 2 more questions, but does anyone else want to go up?
Does anyone else have a question? All right, go ahead and ask your questions then.
My second question was, out of all the games, what do you still consider at the moment, until Infinite comes out? What would you consider to be the best to just start out with Machinima? Because I heard how you said there was a lot of improvements with 5, but
yeah,
it seems to be the one where it kind of peaked.
I think it depends on what you're looking to get out of the machinima. Because when all of us want to make a machinima, I've even had a few machinimas I've started but never finished. It all comes down to, well, what do I need? And then do I want to get this kind of a feel, whether it's an older classic feel, or am I actually trying to set this in a different kind of Halo universe? Or is this an aesthetic choice? So for a lot of us, it comes down to just what you're looking to do. But I think the most simple answer is probably the newer you go, the more features you get. But as stated earlier, there are some features that have been removed, so it just comes down to what you really need. Mainly, the big bulk of Machinima is coming from Reach and Halo 5 because they each have a lot of pros and a few cons to them, but they make the most of their engines, and then you have a lot of other stuff in Halo 3 that was pioneered for those.
Yeah.
All right. Since I'm guessing no one else.
Oh, could you hold your mic a little closer?
Oh, sorry. I'm guessing since no one else has any questions still. Third one was incorporating independent animation, because there's some featured in the video. Rooster Teeth, I believe, from season 6 onward with Red vs. Blue, with Monty joining the team, incorporated independent animation that wasn't just game footage. When does it seem like it's worthwhile to do it in independent animation if you have the resources? When does it, when does it seem like it's rare to do in gameplay?
It's really kind of based on how you want to portray your piece of work artistically. There's some groups out there and some people out there who want to try to stick to as much game footage as possible with very little touch-ups and try to really highlight what Halo has to offer just from the game engine. But there's other groups and mission makers out there who want to take full advantage of those visual effects and those visual styles. So it's really up to however you want to portray your story, if you want to use those animations or the kind of art style you want to go for. So it's really kind of a personal decision, I think, for the most part.
I think I could probably add on to that a little bit. Wow, that's a quiet mic. There we go. Adding on to that as well, especially with, I think Alistair will know this, but like with Jerry incorporates a lot of SFM into his productions. The most I see Machinima, again, like they just said, it's a very personal thing as to when each director tries to incorporate it on their own. But the most times I've seen animation independent of actually Halo in a Machinima is when you're trying to get the characters to do something that is simply not possible. For a lot of things like lying down, you can just chroma key someone laying down on the side. For a certain fight scene, you can try to choreograph it using assassinations, but that's a little harder. If you have people, like I think Red vs. Blue had a lot of sequences that just simply were not possible with the game engine, like falling from the sky on the little box, the sarcophagus, I think they called it, or a lot of their really elaborate fight scenes. So it's entirely
Protect me, Cone!
But yeah, it's also a lot of work to incorporate it. I think the top two people, and I wish they were here, but to ask about that would have been like Jerry and Ascend maybe, because Ascend's big on the SFM, or not SFM, Blender is his preference.
3D animation, yeah.
I tried using Maya a while back, but it's just far too many resources to spend trying to render on a laptop versus, just doing everything in game footage.
Thanks for your questions. Do you want to comment? Sorry. Nope.
You want to comment, or?
All right.
Wait, anyone comment?
All right. Last question. Use the mic.
And real quick, can we just all have a moment of silence for the live stream audience? The laptop just died near the end. So for those having to watch this via the cut uploaded after, I'm sorry. Hopefully, if we get invited back, I'll be more prepared and I'll understand the real-time constraints of California traffic.
Rest in peace, security.
I just wanted to ask, could you restate the Discord and basically where we need to go to get to the hub?
Certainly. So if you're looking to get into the hub and join us, you can go on to discord.io/Machinima. That's the easiest way to find us. There's actually a few ads of ours on YouTube. If you just type in the hub or Machinima hub or whatever on YouTube, you'll find the links in the description as well. Plus, a lot of other popular Machinimas will have the invite link there so that way you can easily find it. And if you're looking to join or be a part of the GMAs or see the end results as they will be coming in the later month, go ahead and visit us via discord.io/thegmas with an S at the end.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. And thank you everyone for attending. We'll be around the area for a little while longer to answer any other questions after we take a quick picture. But thank you for stopping on by and enjoy the rest of your Outpost.
Thank all of you for attending this. This actually means a lot to us, and it means even more that 343 cared enough to give us a platform, and I look forward to next year's Outpost. Thank you.